2.3, manipulate HTML query parameters in PHP. Yeah. So in this part, let's go another step forward. So this time we will learn data processing. We need to work on the data. Yeah. All right. So before we get there, so I need to give you the basic knowledge related to passing data around back and forth between client and the server. Yeah. So so here, the first topic, understand HTML query parameters. Yeah. So we send the data through HTML query parameters. You may ask me, what is the HTML query parameters? Yeah. So we will, do a lot of discussion on this topic. Yeah. All right. First, remember we always type that HTTP. The meaning of it, so when we start from this one. HTTP, it is a protocol, right? Yeah. HTTP protocol. Yeah. Communication. When we do communication between client and server, so we use the HTTP, the protocol. Yeah. So what's the protocol, right? Yeah. Because both sides, when you do communication, they need to use the same language, right? If you use different languages, then the two sides cannot understand each other. That's simple. So here in computer industry, so in our web context, people understand each other through this special protocol, HTTP protocol. Okay, all right, yeah. So here, I cannot spend too much time to, give you all the details about HTTP protocol, but I can here only give you some important properties. Yeah. So here for communication between client and server, what is the basic structure of the HTTP protocol? So we need to understand that part. Okay, all right. So first, we are working on communication between the client and server. All right. And how to do communication, we need to send data, right? Yeah, so suppose here the client side, this server side. Yeah. So here we need to use a simple model, communication model, simple model. So we call it request response model. All right, yeah. Request response model. All right, yeah. So request, client sends request. So here, the request under the HTTP protocol, so we call it HTTP request. Okay, yeah. Then the return part, HTTP response. Yeah. And both, yeah, so you may ask, what what the HTTP request exactly is. Right? You may want to know that. Yeah. So here we understand. So we treat as some object. Okay. So this is object. Here is also object. Yeah. And you may ask me, so what is the object here? So here the object, it's not the programming object. Okay. Object-oriented programming. It's not that object, programming object. So this is a object, just something there, it exists, so there is something, so you can feel about it, so it's an object. Or you can understand as a block of data. All right, yeah, a block of data. So, and with certain structure, yeah, because this object, the data, with certain structure. Okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, so here, then regarding the protocol, you need to follow certain rules. Yeah. So for example, for the HTTP request, this object. Yeah. So the first line, yeah, because here you can understand as a block of data. The block of data follows the structure. Yeah. First line. So we call the request line. All right. Then from the second line through, there are several lines. Yeah. But the line, how many lines, it depends. So you may not know exactly, sometimes more, sometimes. So this part we call the header part. The header part contains, a lot of header information. Okay, so the language, IP address, host name, yeah, lot of things, yeah, right, yeah, all right, yeah, and after that, after the last line, there is a blank line. So this is a blank line. The reason this blank line, because you need to separate this header part and the body part. After the blank line, this part, request body. Okay, request the body. Yeah. All right, the body you can use to send the data. Okay, the body you use send the data, and the body and the plus attachment. Attachment, yeah, because you have some image, some file attached, put it in the attachment. Yeah. So the body part, so that's the, all these parts, text. Attached part, you can put a, binary files. Okay, yeah. So that is the HTTP request object. Yeah. Similarly, response object. Yeah. Similar structure, so here I do not need to repeat it to, save some time. Yeah. But slightly different. Here, slightly different. Yeah. But, quite similar. Yeah. All right. And why? So you may ask me why we need to understand this kind of detail. This background is useful because you may like to know how to send data, right? The question, how to send data. This is a very important question, right? To understand this question, it's better to know the structure of HTTP request object. Okay, all right. So here, to answer that question, to send the data, we have two places to send. Yeah, in two places to send the data. Yeah. First one, in the request line. All right, the request line, yeah, it contains a few pieces of information. Yeah, for example, like the HTTP protocol version, some code, yeah. But here, the most important thing we need to know, there is a URL line, URL portion of the line. So request line, only one line. Okay, one line containing version, HTTP version, some information, some simple information, but there is this most important part, URL portion. This URL portion, we can put a data here. Yeah, so we can, use this part to send the data. Yeah. How to send, yeah, I will describe it later. So that's the first place in the request line. Second, in the request body. Okay, all right. So from this one, so here you can see the difference, because the request body, we can send a lot of data, right? So the body, so a lot of space you can use to send the data. But request line, only one line, okay? One line, although that line could be quite long, but there is a limit there, okay? So you cannot send too much data. There is a limit, yeah, all right? So based on this understanding, then we can try to understand how to process data. Yeah. So before that, so let me, give you another level of details, information. Yeah. All right. So regarding the HTTP protocol, there are two methods. Actually, there are many methods. Yeah, 6 methods. But at this point, the most commonly used HTTP methods, the first one is the GET method. Yeah, usually people use capital letters. And the second one, POST method. All right? Yeah, 2 methods. These 2 methods, they have different properties. When you send the data, different properties. Yeah. So the data sent in the request line belong to GET method, right? 2 ways to send data: GET method way and a POST method way. All right, yeah. But if you send through the request line, it belongs to the GET method way. All right. Then you may think if we send data through the request body, that's the post, right? Yeah, but not that simple. All right. So if send in the request body yeah, let me see. Yeah, actually, I need to record a little bit. Yeah. All right. Because I may get it wrong. All right. Yeah. Probably it's that. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, yeah. Because very easy to get confused. If send through the request body. All right. Yeah. So the post method. Yeah. But the post method here, you need to specify it. Yeah, because get method, this is the default HTTP method, default. Post method, it's not a default. So for the post method, you need to specify it. Specify post method. Okay? Yeah. How to specify, remember how to specify. So here I want to use a way HTML form. So do you know HTML form? Yeah. So HTML form. Yeah. So I hope. Yeah. So this is a special HTML element. So what's the element? The element in the HTML, it's called, the tag is called a form. Okay. The tag is called a form. All right. Then there is a action attribute. Action, you need to specify some data processing, program to process your data, because that's the server side file you want to send. Yeah. So for example, here I just call process data PHP, because I want to send my data to this program to process the data. Right? Then there is a method attribute. Method attribute, you can put a get or post. Yeah. But so you have options to put a get and a post. Yeah. If you put the get method, then the data will send through the request line. Okay? Yeah. If you put a post method, so you have option. So although, you can use capital, lowercase, yeah, the same, but most people here right now use the capital. Yeah. Form tag. Close the form tag. All right. And between, inside, yeah, the lines, so you can put a HTML content. All right. Then you can, the content can including the data to be sent. Okay. Yeah. So how? Yeah. We will see some examples. So you will see, how do we allow our users to input data in this part. Yeah. So then when you click the button, yep, because there should be a submit button. When you click submit button, then the data is sent to this program for processing. Okay, so that's the general picture, high level general picture. Yeah. All right. And this is the client side. Yeah. So here, what we are talking about here is the client side. Yeah. But at the same time, because this data processing file, it is at the server side. Okay, the server side, first it need to retrieve the data from the HTTP request object. Okay, so you may ask me how to retrieve. Depends on you use get method and the post method. Yeah. So here you may so here I guess some of you may have the question. Some of you may have the question. Okay. The question. Let me just write a Q here. Okay. The question. The question. What is the difference between the data sent by the get method and the post method? There are several important differences. In this video, let me skip that part temporarily, because I don't want to make this video too long. So later, I try to use another video, find some place to explain the difference, because the difference is very important. We need to know that. Okay, so there is a lot of difference. So here we only need to know we need to retrieve the data. Okay, retrieve the data. So here let me show you how. So here we assume we are in PHP. So in PHP, after we retrieve, we need to store it in some PHP variable, right? So here let me assume we have a PHP variable $my var. Okay, my variable. All right, equals now retrieve from the HTTP request object. All right. So here we need to call PHP function to do it. So the first function we need to call filter function, because we need to, try to make sure our data is not harmful. It's not harmful. So we use a filter function. So it's called a filter_input. So this is the filter function. Okay, the filter function, the first parameter, capital input. This capital input, that's the PHP constant, _get. So if we want to, retrieve data sent by the get method, we should use this constant. If we want to retrieve data from sending by the post method, then we use input_capital post method, and so on. All right. Then when you send the data, you need to specify the name. Yeah. So for each piece of data, so here, let me explain. Each piece of data, you send, how do you send? Name value pair structure. We use name value pair structure. Okay. Yeah. So we send name under some name and under some value. And then we call the parameter. Yeah. So this, whole pair. So that's corresponds to our parameter, HTML parameter or query parameter. Okay. The query parameter. All right. So how to send a piece of data? First, you need to specify a name. Okay. For example, so if I specify first name, yeah, equals, okay, John. Okay, that's my data. All right. Yeah, before the equal sign, that's the name of the parameter. After the equal sign, that's the value of the equal sign. All right. So here you do not put a double quotes. Yeah. So yeah, although you can put double quotes, but here after sign, yeah, because all your data is treated as a string. Yeah. Yeah. So by default, it's string. Yeah. Even numbers, they are treated as strings. So that means you do not need to use quotes to tell people it's a string. Okay. All right. Then the last name, yeah, after you send the first name, you want to send also last name. How to separate different parameters, ampersand sign to separate. Okay. After ampersand, so we need to have our second parameter, L last name equals, okay, yeah, just some name, X, Y, Z, for example. Okay, yeah. So here, this way, we send two parameters. All right. So if that's the parameter you want to send, when we retrieve, we need to specify which parameter you want to retrieve by specifying the name, the parameter name as the second parameter here. But here you need to use the double quotes. So the name is F name. Okay, all right. So in this way, you retrieve one piece of data from the HTTP request object, and so on. So if you have a lot of pieces, many pieces, so then you retrieve in this way. Okay. Next, I will use our program, example 2.3, and explain how to send retrieve data. Yeah. Just through one PHP program. Yeah, one program. I will give it to you so you can study, but I will run it, show you what can we do, and then explain the code a little bit. Yeah. How to send the data, how to retrieve data, and do the queries. Yeah. We need to do some simple queries on our university DB database. Okay. All right. Yeah. So that's the theoretical part. Next, let me run my PHP example and then explain it. Okay. All right. Yeah. So let me jump to NetBeans. Yeah. So here the program is already here. Yeah. So So you can see many lines here. Okay, so this is the whole program. But database connection part, the same as before. I just copy. Okay, these lines. After that, the data manipulation part, retrieval, then manipulation. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, first let me tell you what specific data processing I need to do here. I send data using three parameters. The first one, we need to select one of the 5 tables. Now, remember, in the university DB database, we have 5 tables. Which one of the 5 tables we want to select? So we need one parameter for that purpose. Second, after we select one table, we do the query, we can retrieve all the data from this table. So my second parameter, I want to specify which row I want to retrieve the data. I only want to retrieve one of the rows. So I need my second parameter to tell me which row I want to select. Okay, so that's the second parameter. The third one, I want to select one of the columns in that row, only one of the columns. So I need a column number there. Okay, so after I select these 3 pieces of data, then I display my query result. The table name, I want to retrieve data. Then the row number, I want to, select the row. And finally, the column number. So then I need to print out the data value corresponding to the row number, given column number in the given table. That's what I need to do in this example. So here you can see, we need to do a lot of things here. All right, all right. So let me run it first. So here you can see I already get everything ready. I start Apache server and a MySQL server. All right, so everything is ready. We just need to run this example. ex2d3.php, this one. Let's run this program directly by run. See, result. Okay, all right. At the beginning, you can see the table name student is the table name we select. All right, because at beginning you can see when I run this program, I do not have chance to select the table, right? Because when I run it, I cannot give any input to this program, right? So without input, that means no input. So the result displayed here under no input, no table selection input. That means if no table selection, I retrieve the parameter value corresponding to table. That's the 0. Later you will see, because if no value provided, then our variable takes the 0 value. 0 value, that corresponds to the first table. The table array with index 0, that's the first table. So it's the student table. So you see the result, student table, all right? The second, row number, because row number, we do not have chance to enter the row number, right? So then that means that variable will take 0 value. Index 0, that corresponds to row 1, right? So that here you see the row number 1. Similarly, column, no value, 0, index 0 corresponds to column 1. Then the data corresponds to table 0, row 0, index, column, index 0. That value is 8. All right, yeah, that's for, yeah, but that's the first time because I don't have chance to, enter parameter. But the second, later, I have a chance to enter the data. So how do I enter? Question mark under, yeah, here, question mark tn, the parameter name, table number tn. So here I put a, equals 3. So I select table number 3, all right, ampersand rn, row number rn equals 2, ampersand cn equals 4, then enter. Here you see index 3 table, that's the grade underscore report, all right. Row number 2, yeah, because here, yeah, row number 2, column number 3, yeah, so here, but when we use, yeah, so when I use, you will see in my code, I -1, okay. Row number 2, index is 1. Row number 3, column number 3, the index is 2. Yeah. So then the data value, corresponding to the given information, 85. Yeah. You can verify it, yeah, but here that's not important. Yeah. So if you like, you can go back to check our original database to see it. Yeah. But here just show you some simple actions. Yeah. Here you can see the specific way to send data through the URL part, right? URL part, remember, URL, the whole line will be part of the HTTP request line, right? Yeah, part of the HTTP request line. So then the parameters, multiple parameters are sent in this way. After question mark, the question mark is used to separate, the data and the URL path. Yeah, we call it URL path. The path and the data, we need to separate them using this question mark. Okay? Yeah. All right. Yeah. So next, before we finish this one, so I may need to show you the code a little bit. Okay? Yeah. So here, first, retrieving 3 parameters. All right, so I use this filter underscore input. Yeah, so you saw it. Yeah. So with the parameter names 3. But here, you can see I call int val function to convert. Yeah, because after the retrieval, it should be a string value. Yeah. By default, it's a string value. HTML, the data retrieved from HTML document, all in string format initially. Yeah. But here, because we like to use as integer values. Now, array indexes, think about array indexes. We want to use integers as array indexes, right? Not string as array indexes. Later you will see, if you like, we can use strings as array indexes. But here, normally, we use integers as array indexes. Yeah. So we need to do conversion. This int val function, we do that conversion. But your string is empty. Remember, the first time I didn't have a chance to pass my values, so the string values all empty. Empty, after we call integer function, it will convert to 0. Yeah, so that's the reason our first set of values 0, 0, 0. All right? Yeah. But here, I use some if statement because the table value could be out of the range. The range should be between 0 and 4, right? The range should be between 0 and 4. Yeah. So if the table selection, because some user, they may type tn equals 10. for example. Yeah. When tn equals 10, I don't want my program generate some error message to my users, right? Yeah. So in that situation, if it's greater than 4, I make it 4, because that's the largest valid table number I can use. Yeah. Yeah. If the number less than 0, I will make it 0. So after this step processing, I can make sure my table number is in the range, valid. I get a valid table number. All right? Yeah. Okay. So then I define, so an array, I store the table names. Okay. So then with the tn parameter value here variable, we can get the right selected table name in this variable. All right. Yeah. So then I can output this table name. Yeah. After that, I do query. Okay. Yeah. So I do query. Yeah. And I want to get the column information. So show columns. I want to get a column information. And using this while loop, I retrieve all the columns. I use this $fields array, so all the columns. Okay. Yeah. Here you may ask me, yeah, have we defined the fields array? We haven't, right? Yeah. So here it's fine. If you haven't declared fields array, you can still use it. Yeah. So nothing is wrong. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. But it's better we declare first. Yeah. So usually as a good programming habit, so it's better so you declare before you use it. Yeah. But sometimes it could happen we forgot to do it. All right. Yeah. No error, still fine. Yeah. All right. Then the data should be 2D array. We use 2D array to store rows and columns. Yeah. So here I do our second query. So retrieve all the rows, columns from selected table. Then use a while loop to retrieve all the rows and columns. Okay. All right. Yeah. Then after that, I get maximum row number and the maximum column number. Yeah. Using the count function. Remember, count function we apply on 2 array. So that 2D array count, remember, 2D array. So here, when you see, what's the meaning we apply count function on a 2D array? Yeah. That's simple because we understand 2D array as array of array. Yeah. Have you heard of that? Yeah. So usually people interpret a 2D array as a 1D array of each element is another 1D array. So array of array. Yeah. So that's the way we interpret 2D array. Okay. Yeah. So here, because array of array, so the first level dimension array, we can count the number of rows, right? That's the number of rows there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The second, number of columns. Yeah. Second dimension, when we go to each row, then it's also another array. That array contains the column information. Okay. Yeah. So in that way, so we have these two maximum row number, column number. Then we can put our Rn variable in the given range. Also, we can put a Cn variable value in the valid range. So after that, the last step when we retrieve the data, the 2D array, this time we need to use index number, right? Yeah. So $i minus 1 and a $cn minus 1. Yeah. So to do that, index conversion, array index conversion. So then we just show the data retrieved result. Yeah. All right. So that's this whole example. Yeah. Hope through this example, so you can understand the typical way we manipulate HTTP data. Yeah. Yeah. Although we have a lot of things we need to understand. Yeah. But this one, it's an important step to help us understand how data is manipulated. All right. So that's it. Yeah.